You said you was hurting, almost lost your mind. Now the man you love hurts you all the time. When things go wrong with you, it hurts me too. You love him a little more when you should love him less, while you pick up behind him and take his mess. When things go wrong with you, it hurts me too. All right, welcome to Blues Day Tuesday, folks. We got a classic old tune for you. It Hurts Me Too. This was by Tampa Red in the 1940s. It was also done by Elmore James and tons of other blues artists. So we're going to have a little jam on this. We're going to look at our kind of blues scale here in the key of D. So we got the open and 3 in the big one, and then we have open and 2 on the next one. You could put the 1 in there if you wanted that extra bluesy flavor. Then we have 1 and 3 here, and then we have 1 and 3 here. We could take that up to 5. And if we added those extra notes, you could put that 4 there on the way up to this. Okay, so that's an easy scale to get going with. We could also look at this D and get into like a major blues thing. So open 2 to 4 or like 3 to 4 is a cool bluesy effect there. We got 2 and 4. We got 3 here. We want to switch to the first finger here because we can travel up here with that one. We got 3, 5, and 7. 5, 7, and 10. We can take that 10 back like this. That's our little kind of pentatonic scale shape we're used to. Okay, that's a D right there. That also kind of travels up here to give you more notes. You also have some of your minor pentatonic up in here. Okay, so those are some scales to look at and jam around with. I'm going to play you the progression now to It Hurts Me Too. So it's going to go. We got D7. Then we're going to go to G7. Now here we can go. It's kind of doing a suspended on it. And then we're back to D7. Now we're going to go A7, G7, then we're going to have a D7, a little walk up, D7, and then end on the A7 for the final turnaround. And then we start again. G7. This has that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 kind of feel. A7 to G7, and then we got that turnaround to the 4, and then I went to a G major chord here, and then I went to the 6, and then I went back to my D7, and then I went to A7 for the turnaround. So once again, that was D7 to the 4 on the big string, to the G chord, 5, 4, 3, 3, to the 6, and then instead of going to that 7, we're going to go to the D7, but you could go, if you wanted to get a little extra, little bluesy ending with a little walk up there. So I'm going to try to sing it for you a little bit this time and give you a little context. So we got, that's kind of the vocal melody. So sometimes it's good to figure out where your vocal melody is to get you started off right. You said you was hurting, almost lost your mind. Now the man you love hurts you all the time. When things go wrong, wrong with you, it hurts me too. You love him a little more when you should love him less, while you pick up behind him and take his mess. When things go wrong, wrong with you, it hurts me too. Jam it out. He loves another woman. Baby, I love you, but you love him. Stick to him like glue. When things go wrong, wrong with you, it hurts me too. He better leave you, or you better put him down, 'cause I won't stand to see you pushed around. When things go wrong, wrong with you, it hurts me too. Okay, kind of end on a D7 on that. So let's think about the solo and scales there. Then you got your like, that's your kind of major looking stuff. Okay, so I'll play that a little bit more. You guys jam out a bit. 3 and 4 and so think about stuff like that. That cool little riff right there sounds real good on that D7. So 3 and 4 and take it again. Turn around. let's take a look at this walk up here. We got the 4, then the G chord. Now we could go get a diminished chord in there off that 6th fret bass note. 6, 7, 6, 7. That's a fun one. Now diminished chord is the same exact chord if you take it up 3 frets in any direction. So we could have done that down there too. We could have been like, kind of ended it with just going down a half step with these notes here. That's actually a diminished chord too there, that 01, 01. Take that into the D7 for a cool little ending. Okay, so hope you dug the blues. That was Tampa Red and It Hurts Me Too, also done by Elmore James and lots of classic blues artists. We're going to start out with a C chord, 2 beats. We're going to go to an E major. You could do an E7 here, 2, 1, 3, open. So we're going to have C, 3, 4, C to the E to the A7. So that one's going to go a whole measure, 4 beats worth. So that's 2, 2, 2, and 3. So we have C, we're going to have E7 or E. Then we're going to have A7. We're going to have D minor to A7, back to D minor. And then we're going to walk into this F. We're going to put a 4 in the bass on that F as well. And then we're going to go. So kind of a C and then an open and then a 3, 2 on that G string into an A7 chord. And then D7 to G7. And that's going to be our whole thing. So we have C to E7, and then A7, 4 beats, and then D minor, A7, and D minor for 4 beats. So those were 2 each. So we're going 0, 1, 2, 3 to the F chord, F sharp in the bass. That's like an F sharp diminished type thing. So you can do the 4 and the 2 and the 1. You don't really want to do the 1 on the bottom there. So we got. And then we have this little C note, 1 open, 3, 2. And once you hit that 2, that's an A, so you can get into that A7 chord. And then we got D7 and G7. Okay, so once again we got C to E7, 3, 4. A7, D minor, A7, D minor, walk up to the F, D7, 0, 2, 1, 2, and G7. So how about if we kind of finger pick that? So what I did is I just went up each note, so 4 notes. So I went C chord, but I kind of swung it dum da dum dum. So, and then I went to the E7, then I went to the A7, kind of held that one. Then you can kind of come back after you kind of hold one note there. So. D minor, A7, and then we have longer on that D minor, so we can kind of do that longer bit, and then F, and then we can go 4, 2, 1, 2, could go all the way up and like that, and then D7, G7. So we'll finger pick that again. 3, 4. And sometimes if you feel like you're hitting the same bass note too many times, you could go like back to that higher note and save the bass note for the G. See that? So okay, and it's always good practice to just kind of go up and down your chords with all your different fingers on a different finger. Maybe we'll switch to G, G7. How about C7? Anybody remember C7? 2, 3, 1, open. Let's go through sevens while we're doing it. So we got E7, 2, 1, 3, open. Do that a couple times. Now A7, we have a 2 open, 2 open. You could also have a 3 in that. You could also have all these 2s with a 3. And then we talked about D7. We talked about G7. We talked about C7. And B7, 1, 2, open 2. Okay, so let's get back into this tune a little bit. So we got. Okay, so let's do that real slow. 3, 4, C, E7, A7. And now I'm just doing them all where I go to that higher note. So let's try it again. 3, 4. E7, A7, D minor, A7, long D minor, F, walk down, D7, G7. Okay, so let's walk through the chords. Let's strum it again. So we got 3, 4. Now at the end of the song has a little riff. So he kind of hits on that G7 and stops and has a little riff. Has a little bend on this 6. You could go a little half step slide if you want. This is B string, 6 to 7, 6 to 4. Once we hit that 4, we're going. So 4, 5, 3, 5, 4, 3, 2. And then we're going to hit these bluesy 7 funky chords. These kind of 9 chords. So this would be 3, 4, and 4 to 2, 3, and 3. It's kind of ended on the C chord. Kind of a bluesy C chord of the one that we started with, regular C. Okay, so that ending again would be. All right, welcome to another Blues Day Tuesday, folks. Today I've got Pride and Joy by Stevie Ray Vaughan for you. We're going to start out with this little riff. We're going to slide from the 3rd fret into the 5th on the 2nd string, and we're going to play the little string open at the same time, so it ends up being like. And that's a down, up, down, up, down, up, down. So let's try that. 2, 3, 4. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down. See how that slide is so fast that you really just hear like the 5, so. Now we're going to jump up here to the little 7 with the 8 on the second string. Same little strum, and then this one again. Dee-dum, dee-dum. So there's a couple more of that one. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So we get into the 1 of the new measure, and then we're going to go. Okay, so we're going to slide from the 2 to the 4 and the G. And then we're going to go 2, 3, 2, like a quick one. Try to pull that off or just pick that open. Big 2 right there. So we got. Okay, and then we're going to have the easy riff for this. Here's our E7 chord, 2, 1, 3, open. The easy way to do this would be like, think about the 1 and come in with an upstroke after the 1, like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So let's try that. 2, 3, 4, 1. And 1. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now say if we're going to try that with this A7, we got the 2s with the 3 on the bottom. Let's try the same kind of rhythm. 3, 4, 1, and. Okay, and then. That's our B7. So that's our 3 chords. We got E7. You could go an easier E7 with O1, open, open. We got our A7. Kind of sounds best with this one on this song. But you could do A7 as a 2-0-2-0 as well. Or 2-0-2-3. And then our B7, 1-2-0-2. Okay, so when we get into the little rhythm here, we got. Then we have this little riff. Okay, so that's a little crazy, but we'll take it nice and slow. So we got 3 of the same thing. We got that 2 to 4, typical blues phrase. 2 to 4 in the G, we got that 3 underneath it. Now we're going to take this one back. So kind of a quick one, 4-2 open to the 2. And now we have to go higher instead of lower at that point because we don't have those bass note strings. So we got 2, 4, 4, and then we're going to go. So that's 3, 4, 5 in the second string, 3 and then 4 in the third string, to the third, to 2, 3, 2 open. So once again it was. And then 2 to open, little open, to the big one. So we got. And then we're going to slide into the 4 and the 3 with the open underneath. We got a 1 and a 2 and a. We got like triplets going in there. So we got. So 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a. Hit that again. 2, 3, 4 there. Okay, so let's look at the whole thing again. Keep going on E7, A7, E7, So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, bow da dum bum bum ba dum bum. Okay, and then we be into the rhythm. 2, 3, 4, 1, and. A7. So there's a new little rhythm you can put in there. So we come from the E7, 3, 4, 1. Finest wine, you mess with her, you don't know. It's my sweet. So when he gets into that sweet little angel thing, she's my sweet little baby. I'm her little lover boy. Okay, so you can always kind of do that turnaround. Da, 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 da. Now there's another cool riff over here we can do on like a verse. Okay, so that would be each note you alternate with a little open one. We're gonna go 2 to the 1 on the 3rd string. Now here we're gonna go open on the 2nd string to the 2nd fret, 3rd fret, 2nd fret, open, back to that 1, so it ends up being. And then if you wanted to, you could take that up here to the A. So we're doing the 7, 6, 5, 5. We're going little 5 is our alternate. 7, 6, 5, 7, 8 on the 2nd string. See that same stuff, then we're back. And then we'll have our turnaround. Okay, so that's some extra little fun stuff you can do. Every now and again, he'll have a stop like, my baby, da 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 da. I'll do a little riff, ding, little open, little hammer on, kind of slide back and forth, pull off. So it's like, da 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 dee da da, and then. Okay, now let's just get into the jam part of this. So we're gonna have our E minor pentatonic scale. And if sometimes we're on that E7 chord, you can bring in that little hammer onto that 1. And it usually works best when you go up to the 1, not like down from the 1 to the open. Has a different type of a sound that way. So you can kind of add that in. Now we've also got, we can look at how we combine positions. We've also got the pentatonic flat 5th, the flat 5th note there. So we got all those notes, so let's do a little soloing. 2, 3, 4. I'll take 1. right, you take it. Last time. Here we'll have a stop. Okay, so what I did there is I kind of did a turnaround. Stopped on the A7. We could have done a bass or like, and then we got. So I did a slide here, 3 to 4. So open, 3-0. See that 4 right there is the same as doing that little hammer into that major note. Same thing. So when you're on that E7, you have that major G sharp note. You can add to your pentatonic notes. So it's. Then what I did here for these last 2 chords, I did 5 with 6s into the 6 with 7s, because that's an E7 type of a chord right there, E7, 9. So let's look at the basic kind of rhythm on this. We're going to have. So it's basically you got these top 3 threes. This is a B flat chord. You're gonna go twice on that and then bring in this ring finger to the 5th fret. So it ends up being like 5, 3, 3. And then you go back to the 3s. So it's like that's one set of this. So we got. Okay, so you do like 8 sets of that for a verse, and you come up here to the 8th fret. Do that 4 times, and then back 4 times. Then we're going to jump up here to the 10th fret. Do that 4 times. Now, a lot of blues tunes would go like down to that lower one there, that 5 chord to the 4 chord. This one just does that 5 chord 4 times and goes back to B flat. Okay, so that's a whole verse. Let's look at that again. So we got 8 times on this B flat. We'll do it nice and slow. 3 and 4 and. Four more. Let's jump up to that 8th fret. 3, 4. Okay, so that was that 4 times. And we're back here. 3, 4. And then we're way up to the 10. 4 times. Back to B flat. Okay, so I'm gonna do that again. And now we could also do some jamming on this. So think about your minor pentatonic, little blues scale there. So that'd be 8. You could use the 6 too, but the 8 is the root note. 8, then 6, 8, 6, 9, 6, 9. And as you're gonna see, we can add some notes into this. Chuck Berry added a lot of these riffs too. So you have this little hammer you can do. You could do 6s and 8s into 10. Get that major pentatonic for B flat. You could also do the notes of the minor with the majors. So you get your flat 5th there. We got this little major note from the B flat major chord there. So how about that? I'll do the rhythm for like a verse, and you guys go ahead and do a jam on that, or you can play the rhythm with me. 2, 3, and. Going up. Back. Turn around. Back. Let's do that again. Okay, now let's get into the intro of the tune and all of Chuck Berry's classic riffs up there. So we got... That's our first riff. So we're going to slide from the 6 to the 7 real quick with the middle finger on the G string, 6, 8 on the second, and then we're going these 5s into the 6s on the bottom 2. So it's a quick slide and then 2 more sets of the 6s. So that's actually 3 times through of that. So it's like second, third. So that last time we hit the 6s, we go 9 on the second, 8, 6, and then we go do that little hammer on that 6 to 7 to the 8 down there. So the whole thing in the beginning we got. Now we're gonna hit the top 2 here, the 8 and the 7. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that's like a whole measure of just those 2 notes. And then we have a. So this one's a quick 6 to 7 again, and then 6, 8, 6 on the second. Slide the 7 to 5, and then 3 to 5 over here. So we got. Okay, then we start the Chuck Berry bending thing, but we're not going to really be able to bend this, so we're going to slide these notes. So we're going to go. So it's a quick 4 to 6 on the second string, followed by another 6. So it's bump, D, bump, D, bump, D, bump, D, bump, D. And we kind of do 2 sets of that. So it's like, every now and again it'll hit a little 2 6s as a chord down there. Do it again. And then this last one we're going to have. So this one kind of holds that slide for just a quick second, and then we go little 6, 9, 8, 6, and then little 8, 6. So it's. And then 9, 8, 6 again, 8 here, and then the hammer on. 6, 6, 9. Okay, so let's run that all again. We got the. So when we hit this, we go. You hit that hammer on quick, you kind of hold it for a second. And we get into a 6, 6, 9, 8, 6, and then 2 of these slides again. And then 8, hammer, 8. So that's a lot going on. I'll do that one more time. We got. Okay, and I got the tab for that, so check that out. And then we got the rhythm. We got. So this is a verse. 4 chord, 8th fret. That's an E flat. We'll go back to B flat. And then we got the F chord, 10th fret. We'll go back to B flat. Go, go. We're going to slide into this 10 and 9 on the 3rd and 2nd strings. And we end up going to the 11 on the 2nd string as another chord there. Da 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 dee. And then you keep strumming, go. And then you switch chords, go. Same riff. So you kind of hit the chord once, and then you got this riff, and then you kind of got to fill out the space of the chord after that riff. So it's like go. Go, Johnny, go, go. Go, Johnny, switch chords, go. That you just do the chord. Now we have another thing we have. Okay, so it starts the same as the beginning. And then we get into the sixes. Now we're gonna go sixes and then eights, and then sixes, but hammering into the 7 to the 8. So it's. And if you find that too difficult to get those chords, you could do these single notes here, do the chord down here, and then 8, and then hammer to the 8. But if you can get the chords, it sounds bigger, so it's like. So we do that riff twice in a row, then we start going faster. And the last one goes dum, 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 dum. Okay, so once again on that breakdown. And then you pick up on that. Turn around. With an open and a 3. Okay, so once again we got 3, 4. All right, Johnny be good. Let's have another jam with the blues one more time before we're done here. 2, 3, and. Now I listened to 2 different recordings. One of them had the first chord as being here on the 6th fret. So that's a C sharp. And it would go down to this little D shape down here. So that would be the F sharp, and then the highest one would be the G sharp. And it does a little blues thing like that. So it'd be like. So that's your 1 chord, that's your 4 chord, and then the turnaround chord, 5 chord, 4 chord, and 1 chord. And the other version I saw was just 1 fret above that. So you would have the same types of chords. You have, this is a D. Down to G, and back, A, 9th fret, G, D. Okay, and one of the versions, so let's keep it in that key. That's a little bit easier. So one of the versions, it starts on that 5 chord. So it's 3, 4, and down. So that would be the whole intro, then the verse would start right there, and you do like 4 bars of that chord again, that D. So let's try that. 2, 3, and. And you see I'm like staccato, I'm stopping those chords. So this hand here is doing that work just by like not pressing against the neck and just holding on to the strings, but not putting that tension there to make the note, you know. So 3, 4. And then the verse would start. Four measures of that, and then we move. 2 of that, and back for 2. So this is another 12-bar blues. Okay, so we could look at it like this. Now, one of the versions had kind of a bluesy guitar solo. The other version, I think it was just him on piano, so he did a piano solo. So there's a bass line we're going to look at too. But if you want to do a little blues playing, this would be like your home bass note. That's your root note. That's your D note. You could play around with some of these notes to make a little blues solo over this. And we can get all the way down to that low D down there. So you can have some fun with some of those notes. Okay, how about you guys jam a little bit on that? And you could also come down here and use your lower D minor pentatonic. So open 3, open 2, 1, 3, 1, 3. Okay, so let's jam a little bit. 2, 3, and. Let's go again. Okay, now you could also use, for these chords down here, you could do that extra little step there and put that, get that bass note kind of happening. We'd have. So at the end, it kind of has like several turnarounds. Okay, and then there's a bass line that's real cool in this. It's like. Okay, so if we want to do it right there, that's going to be 7 on the G string, 7 on the B string, 10 back to that 7. So 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to come down to this 8th fret with 7 and 10. And that'll go twice. And then we're back. And then we're going to come to this 10th fret, to the 8th, back to our original 7. So let's try that. 2, 3, 4. We got 4 of these. Going down, 8. And back. Okay, and then we could also do it over here. Okay, so let's look at those. We got open and 4 on the big one, to the 2 and back to the 4. So 2, 3, 4. Come down to the G string, open 4 and 3 back to 4, and then back up. And then here we could do it like this A shape. So that's another option you have for the open 4, 3, 4 would be just to do the 5, 4, 3, 4. That way we're doing these the same on the way back. So if we started at the beginning of the song, this little bass line right here, it'd be like the 5 chord to the 4 to the 1. It'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we'd start the verse. Okay, so you got cool bass lines and you got strums. So starting on the turnaround here would be that strum again. 2, 3, Verse. And you can try your bass line along with this, you know. One more time. Turn around. One more. Okay, one more thing you could do is if you're soloing, you could do the D major pentatonic. So check out jamming on some of those notes.